Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 26.5 Beta 2. iOS 26.5 Beta 2 is available for developers, and iOS 26.5 Public Beta 2 should be out by the time you're watching this video or later this week. Now this came in at 1.61 gigabytes on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, was about the same size on the other devices here, where Apple also released iPadOS 26.5 Beta 2, macOS 26.5 Beta 2, tvOS and HomePodOS 26.5 Beta 2, watchOS 26.5 Beta 2, and visionOS 26.5 Beta 2, along with updates for older Mac updates as well. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the build number and talk about what's new. So we'll go to Settings, and this time, since Apple updated it with iOS 26.4, we'll go to Software Update, go to More Details, tap on the version number, and as you can see, the build number is 23F5054H. This particular update is not a huge update compared to Beta 1, but there are a couple things to talk about. There is a new modem update going from Beta 1 version 2 to Beta 2, which is a little bit odd, as on the 17 Pro Max it was version 1.60.00 for Beta 1 version 2, and then iOS 26.5 Beta 2 is 1.60.00-1. I don't think I've seen a -1 before. Now there is no new Siri update yet, no Apple Intelligence update, no Siri changes, so Siri 2.0 is most likely coming with iOS 27. As far as new features, well, the first thing is, if we go into Apple Maps, the first thing you'll be greeted with is a new splash screen going over that they're going to be including ads. We've talked about this before, but it says Maps may show local ads based on your approximate location, current search terms, or view of the map while you search. For your privacy, advertising information is not linked to your Apple account. So what that means is maybe you're searching for something nearby, or basically what we already see in the App Store. So on the main screen here, typically we'll see some ads like this one here. We can expect the same thing in Maps. Also, when you go to search in Apple Maps, you'll see that we have suggested places. That was there in Beta 1, but also new from Beta 1 that I missed was these icons that are here for fast food, gas station, and others, where they're not in 26.4.1. So that is new from Beta 1 and Beta 2 as well. Another thing they've changed in Beta 2 is if we go into our settings, now go down to notifications, you'll see that there's no option here for notification forwarding like there is on Beta 1, at least not in the United States. So this is something that's going to comply with the European Union rules, where it can forward to different devices, maybe a third-party watch that you're using or something else, but we don't have the option here, at least in the US. Let me know if they've removed it in the EU for you as well with Beta 2. As far as other new features, well, there was just a few different splash screens. So going from Beta 1 version 2 to Beta 2 is fairly small, but the splash screens have to do with Apple Vision Pro. You can see here where it says, "Welcome to Apple Vision Pro, discover new content, get your Vision Pro ready, and share with AirPlay." There was also a new splash screen. If we go into Freeform, you'll see here where it says, "What's new in Freeform?" with advanced image creation and editing, premium content, and it says, "Plus Apple's creativity apps." So that's all I've seen that's new in this update so far. When it comes to bugs and bug fixes, well, there's a few things worth talking about. The first thing is text to Siri has been fixed. So double tap at the bottom here, and it will now give you suggestions. You'll see they'll pop up here. Maybe we'll type in phone, and it gives real-time suggestions as you type, and you can open up the app that you're typing. So this is something that's broken even in iOS 26.4.1 that's now fixed in iOS 26.5 Beta 2. One thing that seems to be fixed that I know many of you laugh that I bring up is the wallpaper bug. So for example, here I'll swipe up and you'll see there is a bit of stuttering we'll talk about in a moment, but the actual saturation of the wallpaper seems to be pretty good, just about the same. And that was the same in the previous beta, so it looks like Apple at least has fixed it for now. So far, it also seems the keyboard alignment has been resolved. So this is something that it was sort of shifted to the left in some apps. So far, it seems to be aligned properly. I haven't noticed it in other apps so far, but hopefully it stays fixed throughout and there's no other issues with that. There are a few bugs to talk about though, but as far as Apple CarPlay, that will take a few days to test, see if it's occurring for other people, and of course we'll talk about it in the weekend follow-up. But CarPlay has been fine for me, at least in the beta. Occasionally it will disconnect and then reconnect, but then it stays connected. But there is a bug, at least with some of the graphics here. You may have already seen that. So one of them is if we lock the phone, unlock, watch the icons come in, they sort of just jump back. It's almost like there was a forgotten frame here, and then it just jumps back with the animation. You can repeat this over and over, just unlock, slide up, and you'll see it jump at the last minute. So I'm seeing this throughout the OS from time to time as it goes back to the home screen. So what the change is there, I'm not really sure. So it is a bit laggy from time to time. Initially, it was very smooth, but then you get these occasional lags, at least in this update so far. Now, it still could be processing pretty heavily in the background, but again, there's still some issues. Also, before we talk about releases, another thing I wanted to mention has to do with the build numbers this time around. So if we go to Apple's release website, on the release website, you'll see a different build number than we see in settings. So again, if we go back into settings here, we'll go back into general and software update, wait for it to load, and you'll see the build number is an H. If you install it over the air like I did, it will then show this build number. However, if you download the IPSW files, they don't seem to work just yet, and technically they should have a different build number. So Aaron P613 on X also commented about this. So you'll see here where it says Apple has released 2 builds of iOS 26.5 Beta 2 over the air, the file, the IPSW, and it says it will not work due to Apple not posting encryption keys for that build yet. Maybe they'll do that in a bit, but so far I haven't seen updated notes. If you go into the release notes, it still shows Beta 1 release notes. So maybe they're still working on it. They're a little bit slow today doing that. But again, there's not a whole lot of changes in this update, at least from Beta 1 version 2, other than a few different things that I've already mentioned. When it comes to overall releases, iOS 26.5 Beta 3 could be about a week out at this point. Typically, we're at the weekly cycle after Beta 2, but sometimes it does take a couple weeks to get to Beta 3. So we don't know exactly what Apple's going to do, so we could see it on the 20th or on the 27th, sometime around that time. Also, of course, the public release is probably going to take place in maybe mid or early May at this point. We don't have an exact date, but maybe the 11th or 18th, depending on how many betas Apple puts out when they put out iOS 26.5 RC. And then, of course, a week after that, typically the release. So we'll have to wait and see what they do there. But then, of course, iOS 27 will be shown for the first time at WWDC 2026 on June 8th. So that's what we're looking forward to. That's where we'll see some major changes, the stability update, hopefully, and maybe a few surprises as well, along with Siri 2.0. Now, if you're wondering if you should install iOS 26.5 Beta 2, if you're on Beta 1, Beta 1 version 2, or the public Beta 1, definitely install this update when it's available. Make sure that you've installed it. Of course, the public beta could be out by the time you're watching this video, so install that, test it, and then, of course, report feedback in the Feedback app. Definitely do that, as Apple takes a look at the feedback and then, of course, fixes that based on a priority. Now, as far as the overall experience and performance so far, like I mentioned before, it seems pretty smooth. Things like ProMotion seem to be very fast this time around, which is really nice. It seems even smoother in the app library when scrolling, and Liquid Glass seems to be nice and smooth most of the time. But then there's that occasional hiccup, again, when you unlock it, and then it jumps every time. So there's still some things to fix, of course, but again, report the issues you're having in feedback. As far as the overall heat, of course, it's going to be warm after initially installing it. That's typical. It's going to stay warm as it indexes and updates everything in the background, such as text to Siri with the suggestions and more. So it will take just a while for this to finish. And of course, it will improve typically by the weekend, where we'll talk about it in the weekend follow-up. As far as the overall battery life, well, it's been okay for me on Beta 1 version 2, as I've been using it full time on the 17 Pro Max. If we take a look at my battery health, I'm at 100% with 60 cycles at this point. And if we take a look at battery usage, today so far we're at 3 hours and 46 minutes of screen active time, 33 minutes of screen idle time, with 39% of the battery used. It's an improvement over yesterday, so maybe they've improved it quite a bit with Beta 2. But again, this typically takes a few days. When things are done indexing, then of course it improves as well. When it comes to storage, let's take a look at that compared to Beta 1. So if we go into our settings, go down to General and then iPhone Storage, give it a second to load, and we'll scroll to the bottom here, and you'll see iOS is taking up 22.05 gigabytes on Beta 2 compared to 21.95. It looks like this is mostly from Apple Intelligence, as iOS is exactly the same size at 14.24 gigabytes. So right where you would expect it. Of course, depending on how you use Apple Intelligence is a bit of a mystery why it goes up and down, but again, that varies all the time. When it comes to system data, it's about the same, but again, this varies and goes up and down as it needs cache and other processes in the background. Sometimes it's 1 gigabyte, sometimes it's 60 gigabytes. It's completely normal. When it comes to overall benchmarks, let's go ahead and run those. Benchmarks completed, and we have 3,788 for single core, 9,678 for multi-core. I ran it twice today. It improved the second time, at least for multi-core, but it's not as good as we've seen in the past. Again, it's still processing in the background, so I would expect this to improve maybe over the next few days, and we'll talk about it in the weekend follow-up video. So that's everything so far with iOS 26.5 Beta 2. Not a huge update. I'm glad to see they've fixed text to Siri, but I would like to see some more refinement here before we get to iOS 27. Let me know if you've found anything else in the comments below, and of course I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.